So you guys went on a float trip.
Went on a float trip. Went on
To
the
the
Illinois River.
Illinois
man.
River.
I've been there 100 times. Never, ever have I ever been concerned with drowning.
But this time you guys went after it had rained a
Labor
lot.
Day,
Yeah,
so
it was-
yeah, they did, had the tremendous flooding. In 2019, the USS Batfish and come untethered and all kinds of stuff up there. That river.
There had been a drowning the weekend before.
They tell you at the beginning of this deal, don't be tethering your rafts together and everything else. And we didn't actually, there wasn't tethered, but we hung on and hung legs over and, to each other's rafts and two rafts, we're just bumper, if you get your rafts together, you're not driving them anymore. And you need to tell that story,
Okay.
that part of the story on how I got chastised for your inattentiveness. But
Oh, yes.
So, yeah.
how it was my fault.
Lacey.
We
Oh,
were
my
tethered
fault.
together, but when I went to the Illinois River before, I didn't have to do anything. I just chilled. Him, and whatever other man that was in the raft would guide the boat.
But we were a raft, and I could drive and keep it,
Right.
keep everybody stirred out of the sauce and
So
everything
him
else.
And Ray's husband are just living their best life up there, not really paying attention to what's going on, I guess. And we've got our backs, so we're floating down the river backwards, essentially. Me and Ray are. I just happened to turn around about the time I'm about to be decapitated. I mean, I'm not joking, Ben.
This was going to be the most low speed, slow mo decapitation
No, we were kind of, it was fast.
in the history of decapitations.
I mean, it would have hurt. It was a huge tree, and I died.
It was a huge tree at 0.3 mile an hour.
I dive into the boat, because I'm trying to, I flattened myself out. I don't even know how I did what I did, and I laid all the way down, and when I did, we bottomed out of that boat, and I ripped my toenail, like the most throbbing pain. So I'm mad.
The tree did this?
Yes.
So I'm
No,
saying,
Tracy Allen did this.
I'm thinking if it can knock your toenail off, it could probably knock your head off too.
Exactly.
I'm with you,
That's
Tracy
correct.
or Lacey. I'm with you.
And so I'm mad because number one, I just got my toes done, so my pedicure is ruined. Number two, I almost died.
Almost
Number
died.
three, my foot is smashed, and there's blood everywhere. It is bleeding.
A drop.
profusely. It was not. It was smashed. My toe it was bad. And we're in this nasty river, and I'm like, this is how I die.
Right.
I'm going to get some kind of nasty disease from this dirty river, And
I would've been thinking the
mad.
same
I mean, this
thing.
is
So you know that
we're
Sarah
only a couple
McLaughlin
miles.
commercial with the sad-eyed
The
dogs
dogs,
and the stuff?
yes.
Yeah, that's me because I'm getting chastised in front of these three other couples and
She's blaming it on you.
yeah, in
Like,
the arms.
Y'all had your head up your ass, not paying attention.
But
And
you know,
almost was decapitated.
but we're letting everybody that's that's told us not to put the two boats together.
Yeah.
We're putting the two boats together, and really, it's taking everything that's occurring out of Matt and my hands.
Right. His name is Matt.
His name is Matt. So we come up on some pretty crazy rapids. Like it's obviously churning pretty hard, And again, we were tethered together, not really paying attention.
Yeah, it's just bumper boats. We're just doing our thing, sitting up on the edge, and Matt and me's conversing. She's got Ray, and they're conversing,
Yeah, I mean,
and
I'm past
we're
my
conversing
foot.
with
I'm
the
not
other
looking at anyone anymore.
other boats. I mean, yeah, she's I'm dead to her.
We just like bump into a log.
Yeah.
But it
So
bumps it hard enough that it stops us. Like we're stuck at this point. We bump and he's sitting backwards and he just falls over very softly backwards. We all laugh. Like I just think
The
it's fine.
inertia, it was at least class 3 rapids.
So you falling backward. Did you hear them laughing?
No, because
Okay.
he went
So-
in.
Poor guy.
He goes in and we're just kind of giggling around.
Yeah.
And
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I'm in another boat.
And I don't, I'm sitting there and Ray goes, "Where's Tracy?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And Ray asked the people in the other boat. She's like, "Is Tracy over there?" And they're like, "Well, who's Tracy? We don't know what."
Literally, low speed, hit the edge, hang up on some debris, nothing to grab onto to, right myself. And, so I go off and bust my nugget on a log going into the water. And then, we're between that's two boats jammed together like this, and I went off. I righted myself, but now I'm under the boat, and it's black. I can feel a little bit of current. It's enough current that I don't have enough air to overcome this current and fight. So I try to come up between the boats, but there's enough current that these boats are jammed together. I can't squeeze my hand through there, much less my head. So I push off the boat, and I don't see anything. So I was like, man, this is getting dire.
We didn't feel anything either. I mean,
yeah, this is getting serious.
Yeah.
So I try to go up and come up again, and everything's jammed together too tight. Man, I go push off a second time and take a big belly full of water. I mean, a big gulp, swallowed a massive amount of water. And it was involuntary.
Yeah.
You're
out of air. Yeah.
I'm out, and I see just a little bit of daylight, but there was the root ball in between me and it. I try to start clawing through it, and wasn't nothing. It was just like rubber, and there wasn't enough room to get through it. And I ended up having to pull myself down on another log to go under to come back up.
I just hope to God he don't get hung on that log.
And hoping
Right.
there's nothing that's gonna, stuff me down, keep me down,
And no, this
or my
is
shorts
not
or my
like-
shirt or something don't, And man, I just, and there's a, just get my face through there, because that's all. It's big enough just to get my nugget, just my face up, just to draw a breath. And I draw 2 quick breaths, and then, turn my head and, jam my arm up through there, and, over the edge of the boat. And then Aaron, one of the guys that was there, and
He grabbed Trey. He started screaming, "Here he is!"
yeah, I got him, and pulled, was able to pull me, to where I could get up, and, because there was another log, and, he was able to pull me up high enough that I could get my feet, up and push up. So we're still hung. Both the boats are hung, and
But now,
So-
I think I need to say, at this point, I have come to the conclusion that he's gone. Ray discovers Tracy's not. Coming back up, she starts yelling, she starts screaming, looking for him, and it gets everybody else concerned enough to be looking, and she tells Matt, she's like, you gotta go in. And I don't know if that's the right decision or not, because I don't know what's taking him under. Because at this point, I'm like, he had to have hit his head when he went in, And so Ray was like, Matt, you gotta go in. You gotta go in for him. And so Matt just dives in, which, look, hindsight, I can't believe he didn't die, because Matt is like 6'5". That's a big guy. And he goes in the water, and Matt's gone. I mean, for a long time. And I'm like, we just lost both of our husbands at the freaking Illinois River. Like, that's where we're at. Because me and Ray have went through, our entire life has been, we both lost our dads, we both lost our brothers, both of our moms went through breast cancer, and we have been best friends since Head Start. Like, we've went through every traumatic thing, we've both been through it together. And Matt comes back up, and he's like, I can't find him. He's not under there. And Ray was like,
Dude, I would have had a meltdown.
Ray goes, you don't come back until you find him.
You die too, man.
Basically, she was like, do not come back up without him. And Matt's just sitting there looking helpless, and he has to draw another breath and go back under. Matt gets swept underneath the other side of the boat too. I have realized, okay, like, I got to do something at this point. I need to call 911 because he's gone, and I need to call him now because I want him to be able to find him. I know where we're at. I need to call him. So I have a waterproof bag. I went to the other side of the boat, undone the waterproof bag, got my phone out of a Ziploc, got it out to call 911, and that's when Aaron screams he's got him. But at this time, I don't know if he's got him, if he's come afloat from drowning, or
Right.
if he is alive, And he comes up, and Matt was swept away as well.
yeah.
And Ray is trying to throw Matt a life jacket, and Ray is not a swimmer. Ray throws Matt a life jacket, and I don't know how she does it, but she's like over the edge of the raft, and she throws it. When she does, she goes in.
Well, we'd taken a dot pause. I mean, we're still hung up on the boats are still hung up, and we sit there and talked about what we was going to do, and
And Tracy's full of water.
because we're still stuck, and I still full of water and
I was like,
everything.
we couldn't find you. He goes, I was under the boat.
and then, Matt and me had got, had ended up together, and we had talked about, what we're going to do. I said, Matt, we're going to push the boats off, and then, we're going to turn our feet downriver, and we're going to go to that rock, that rock bar over there, and so Ray didn't hear that part of Matt's and my conversation, so she thought that he was, in distress or whatever, that he was, whenever we pushed the boats off, got the boats free, and then Matt, turned his feet downriver. He was, we were going to that rock bar, so Matt and me had already talked through a plan and what we was going to do, and Ray had tried to get him a life jacket, and she ends up in the water with him.
And she can't swim. And she is.
I mean, she can swim, but it's not.
We're in rapids. There's rolling.
She don't have a life jacket on.
She doesn't have a life jacket on.
No life jacket. She tried to get a life jacket to Matt.
He is the only one still in the raft, and I am not going in the water for nothing.
Yeah, and I think Matt even told you that.
Matt was like, "Do
not move." There's more obstacles.
Matt got her and got
So they're
Ray.
in trash. So now they've been washed into another vortex of running water and debris from the floods and everything else. And Matt gets her snapped into the life jacket. The current sucked him under because he's trying to, give his wife the life-saving deal or whatever. But he washes under a tree. Now he's going downriver. So now,
Meanwhile, Tracy's literally drowned.
So
he's
now,
still full of water.
Still full of water.
He needs to be saved.
So
still,
he's leaning over the raft.
Yeah.
And I see Matt going down the river, and I can't see Ray on the other side, because of all this debris.
Lost her. I mean, as soon as he put that on
she
her,
lost
she was gone.
lost sight of her. So I'm thinking, is she underwater, and trying to be buoyant, but she's stuck, this, so anyway, I grab another life jacket, run back up river, and hit the water again, and swim across the current to her, and then, get up on this log, and then grab her, and just by the life deal, and I just lifted her. I don't know if she was.
Said, things are gonna get real weird, Ray. We're gonna make it
because it was because.
I trust you, Tracy. I don't care. I'll in the yard.
Because it's swiftwater rescue. I've had that and confined space. A lot of exposure to that and everything else. But it was one of those situations. I was just going to roll her on her back, and we're going to turn her feet downriver and have her hook her legs over my thighs, and we're going to go. But things were closing in. That vision's starting to go. You're starting to see those stars. And so it was.
I saw a light. I didn't know what light it was.
I didn't know what light it was, but I was going.
It was very. I mean, it was very scary. I was
So anyway,
exhausted. We weren't even halfway into this trip, and I'm done. He's had a surgery where he can't throw up, and he needed to get that river water out because he's got a belly full of river water and he can't throw it up.
There was, kind of like. Losing train of thought, stuff with my eyes, busted blood vessels, and memory lapses, and, maybe being in the middle of a sentence and just be, us having a full on conversation and not, just lose track of what topic we was talking about. Couldn't remember words.
The amount of time, I mean, we can't put a number on it. I don't know how long he was under, but a lot of things occurred that took some time.
Right.
So I know, he was underwater definitely longer than you should if you didn't go in with a breath, but longer than you should ever survive.
Right.
There was no, I had come to the conclusion, I got to go home and tell his kids he freaking drowned. You got to be kidding me. I mean, his mom at this point has had a stroke. His dad's being a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week caregiver for her. And I'm going to have to lay this. After all the shit I've been through.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing a minute ago. I was like, that would be such an odd thing.
This is how I go out. Oh my God. This is what our plan was.
Yeah,
Weird.
as a basic sport.